Hey, Alex here again. Now, lately I've been unable to do like heavy testing for videos for a couple different reasons. As I mentioned in the comments, my boot drive on my computer went down, so I got to get a new one and then take a couple days to set that back up and get all of my software like re-registered and running and all that nonsense. So that set me back. I also have a injury, so I've been in and out of the doctor's office and the hospital, and that's eaten up a lot of time, and it's super annoying. But I didn't want to let any more time elapse without putting anything at all out, so I thought I would do this video real quick where I don't have to do testing, I just have to talk at a camera, and take that opportunity to discuss, like, you know, what I'm working on, what's coming up, but mostly things that I've tried that haven't worked, or haven't worked immediately, or just were a straight up disaster. So, slight change of plans here. After I rambled for a while, this video ended up being over 45 minutes long, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to break this up into 2 videos because I want feedback in the comments about certain things, and it's going to be really confusing if I have feedbacks on 2 different subjects in one video. So for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to do a what's coming up video and then a mistakes I've made and lessons learned video. Blah. But before that, let me talk about what's coming up. Now, I just did the live stream with like one of probably many to come, like custom designed and built from the ground up printers. And the purpose of that is to take a project and take a theme and then spend a couple weeks like developing that and testing out parts and then present it to you all in a live stream, you know, at a chit chat talking about it, and then roll out videos detailing like the process, the successes, the failures, and you know, how it's set up and things like that. And then ultimately like post some design files in case anybody else wants to, you know, take it and work it or tweak it or use some of the ideas in their own stuff, whatever. So this initial live stream, like I said before, it was the bang for the buck cantilever type printer. And I wanted to see how long an axis you could deal with that. Like, would it deal with like the regular Prusa print size? If the cheapy like $8 an axis high-wind linear rail clones would work out for that, and if they didn't, like what I would have to go through to get them working. And then try out some other wacky things like belted extruder and, you know, bed without a spider cart, things like that. So those will be rolling out. I actually started shooting those videos like immediately after the live stream. There are just a few things that I wanted to get right before I presented. I did mention in the stream some of the things that didn't work and some workarounds that I had to do. So I actually did want to work around those and roll that into a design that's usable, rather than just putting something out and say, this doesn't really work all that well, so fix it. So anyway, those are happening. That actually is held up, first off, because I had to order some parts, and second off, because I'm actually using that printer to test some other things. And those other things are the Ramps 1.6 Plus board that has the built-in support in the etch pattern of the board for the TMC 2130 chips. I started that testing a little while ago, and that's when I put the how to get, you know, the rearm working with that board and the LCD and all that stuff, just that kind of little hack workaround. And what I wanted to do was take that in conjunction with the TMC 5160s and test them together, and then give like a firmware configuration and like hints and tips for people that want to do that. And the problem that I ran into was not with like the board and not with the drivers or anything like that, but I actually ran into problems with Marlin's homing routine, and I wasn't sure if that was related to those chips, like the drivers or the firmware or something like that, or if it was something to do with the board and it could be anything, like the pins that the cable select are hardwired to and all that kind of stuff. So I spent like 4 days going through and peeling off different options, tearing down like everything to scratch, making sure like no pins were dual assigned, shifting around the ones that I could, running like flying leads to cable select to other pins, trying different options with and without LCD, with and without SD support, SD plus LCD, SD without LCD, LCD without SD, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, that just means a whole lot of testing, and unfortunately, after I got a few days into that, I got distracted by like life things, and I'll have to get back to it. That's actually sitting there right now, all set up, on that Livestream printer, so I haven't been able to do anything with either that printer or that board in the meantime. And again, the reasons for that were my hard drive crashed and I hurt myself and have been in and out of the hospital, so hopefully soon I can get that all finished up. Anyway, so that's just to say that the immediate things that are coming up are the TMC 5130 or 5160 reviews, the Ramps 1.6 Plus reviews. I'll let this emergency truck go by. Yeah. Anyway, maybe those together, maybe those in separate videos. I'm not sure. It depends if I can get them working on that board or not. Also, another thing that has been held up for a long time is the Rearm review part 2. And the reason for that is that I wanted to go into the technical details of not just the rearm, but also the microprocessor that's on there, or the microcontroller that's on there, and some other factors. And there are a few bugs in Marlin that have to do with the LPC platform that I've kind of been stalling and hoping that they work out. And that just relates to, and I've mentioned this before, like taking some of the advanced features like linear advance and S-curve acceleration and all that kind of stuff and using them together. Like there are certain combinations that will work and certain combinations that don't. They result in a print that's like skewed off at an angle. So I really wanted to give it a fair shake by being able to enable those features, but kind of hamstrung by the firmware. So that's why that's been paused for, you know, month or months, and we'll see how that goes. And another thing that's coming up is because of the generosity of one of my Patreon subscribers, who I won't mention now because I didn't ask if he wanted to be mentioned or not. Sorry about that. I'll do a name drop later if you want. And because of popular demand, I'm going to be getting an Ender 3 printer and doing a series on that because it's very popular. And while this channel is mostly about like theory and practical testing, I think it'll be useful to put those into effect with a current, very popular, very cheap and easy to get printer. So the point would be like, try it stock and see how it does, see what its limitations are, and then see what has to be changed and, you know, what's the best bang for the buck and that sort of thing. Kind of like a scientific modding series or something like that. Because one of the things that usually frustrates me with like regular 3D printer channels is they'll just take an off-the-shelf printer, use the stock firmware that's on there, use the stock configuration, like not tweak anything, do some prints and say, this is how this printer prints, and then just like leave it at that. Or I'm like, I don't think you can reasonably expect like a $200 or $300 printer to be awesome out of the box. So people want to see like, hey, if I take this $200 or $300 printer, I put another 50, 60 bucks into it, or, you know, a little bit of time, how much better can I make it? Like, can you make it the equivalent of like an $800 or $1,000 printer, or are you just barking up the wrong tree? So if you don't actually do that testing, who knows? So anyway, that's going to be coming up in the future as well, and I'll probably tie that into the next live stream in some way or another. Oh, and I totally forgot about this when I was filming this video with the camera, so I'll tag this little section on. I got genuine Gates Genuine Gates belt, wow, that's hard to say, and pulleys. And so I want to test those, A/B them against like the cheapy stuff that we usually use, and see if it actually makes an appreciable difference in print quality. This is a video that I've been hoping someone else would do as well, but they haven't, so it's one I'll do myself. That's coming up too. So there you go, that's your coming soon trailer. I thought I'd try to turn lemons into lemonade and take a little bit of downtime as an opportunity to present that. Those are just some of the many projects that are coming up. But to present that and give you an opportunity to leave some comments down below and tell me some things you would like to see incorporated into those videos, you know, testing or situations or whatever. And if it fits with the subject matter and it's something that I can do without, you know, spending a whole ton of time on it, then I'll try to add those in there so that'll be more useful content for you all. And it gives me an excuse to say, if you're not subscribed and you haven't rung the notification bell, go ahead and do that so you get notification for these upcoming projects when they happen, blah, blah, blah. I also have support links in the video description below, so if you dig this type of if you dig this type of content even, and you'd like to see more of it, check out my support links if you would be so kind. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I did cut this video up into 2 parts. Second part, I'll be posting tomorrow. That's just a video of me going through a whole bunch of random things that I've tried and didn't work. because I thought that would be a fun group learning experience, and maybe some of you have gotten it to work properly, and you can say, look, worked for me, this is what I did. So anyway, there you go. Oh, and quick shameless plug for a friend of mine. The dulcet and melodious tones you hear on the intro music to all of my videos, which many of you hate and some of you love, are none other than the Jason Wisdom, my old friend and occasional bandmate. Well, his quasi-solo project two-man band just put out their second album, and it debuted at number 5 on the iTunes metal charts. Way up there with Metallica and Periphery and Whitechapel and all those titans. So, if any of you are interested in metals, the band is it's a two-man band, just bass and drums with samples in the background. It's mostly like groove metal with some industrial rock, industrial metal sensibilities from late 90s type flavor. So if you're into that kind of thing, go ahead and check it out on iTunes. The band's called Death Therapy, as in, what about Bob? I heard it's a guaranteed cure. Until the next video, get out there and make something awesome.